seen... I'm looking for my friend, Gavin. English bloke. Lovely fella. He went missing and, now I'm all alone.
Has he been gone long?
Few years. Few bloody years. I can't remember what he looks like. I'm looking for him, but I don't know who he is. Gav! Gav! Where are you? Gavin! I wasted my life looking. I looked, but I never saw. I saw nothing. Gavin! Gav! Gav! Gavin! This is just too bad.
The enigma of Gavin in Red Dead Redemption 2 has burgeoned into a captivating piece of video game lore, intriguing players with its mysterious, open-ended narrative. This unsolved puzzle revolves around Nigel, a character who endlessly searches for his missing friend Gavin. Despite numerous encounters with Nigel across the expansive world of the game, players never meet Gavin or find any trace of him at all, fostering a hotbed of speculation and a myriad of theories about his fate or even his existence. In today's video, we will take a deep dive into the mystery of Gavin and where he stands in the Red Dead universe now 5 years after the official release of Red Dead Redemption 2. Breaking down the mystery, evidence, and theories surrounding Nigel and the search for Gavin. This mystery all starts with one seemingly odd character, Nigel, who is searching for his lost friend Gavin. According to the game's strategy guide and player interactions, Nigel can be found in specific locations like the Rhodes Saloon, Annisburg, Roanoke Ridge, and Saint Denis. His repeated, desperate cries for his lost friend Gavin have become a notable part of the game's environment, contributing to the game's rich tapestry of folklore, while at the same time sort of becoming a meme as the search for Gavin has practically led nowhere, as the player will encounter Nigel at different locations at different points in the game where Nigel has still not found Gavin. Each encounter it seems that Nigel has lost his mind on the endless search for his friend Gavin.
Please, tell me you've seen Gavin.
I don't even know what he looks like.
Big bloke. Cockney. Londoner. Hilarious. Oh, we've had such times, me and Gav.
No, sorry. I've yet to meet any hilarious Londoners.
Oh, he's the best. Gavin! Oh, I am so worried. You seen Gavin?
You still haven't found him?
Nope, but I won't give up. He's lost. One morning, I just woke up and he wasn't there. Someone must have taken him.
Maybe he just left.
Gavin? No. No. We were best mates. I mean, really, best mates. He'd never leave me. Never. Gavin!
Players can even find Nigel in the epilogue still looking for Gavin.
Somebody help me! Gav? Gav?
Don't see that every day.
I've lost my friend. Somebody help me, please. Has anyone seen an Englishman called Gavin?
Howdy, mister.
I'm looking for my friend, and Gavin. For Gavin.
Has he been gone long?
Yeah. Few years. Few bloody years. I can't remember what he looks like. I'm looking for him, but I don't know who he is.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I've wasted my life. Looking. I looked, but I never saw. I saw nothing. Gavin.
Good luck. Please shut up with all that noise.
Oh, I remember you. Listen, have you seen,
Gavin? You still on this?
Yeah. It's turned into a right bloody rigmarole. I told the trouble and strife I'd be 6 months. It's been 7 or 8 years now.
I'd have stopped after 7 or 8 days.
Yeah, I'll box his ears when I find him. No, I won't. I love that boy. Gavin!
And as 5 years have passed since the game's release, not one player has come out with any evidence of finding Gavin. So the mystery remains, where is Gavin? Before we dive into the theories of Gavin's whereabouts, it is important we go over the little evidence and details that players have found regarding the mystery. A crucial piece of evidence is a letter found on Nigel if players choose to engage with him more aggressively. This letter, from another friend named Tom, who praises Nigel and Gavin for supposedly becoming successful in America. As it reads, "Dear Nigel, I was so happy to hear from you. I cannot believe it, mate. My two friends, you and Gavin, boys I grew up with now, real rich and successful cowboys in America. That's incredible news. Well done, mate, seriously. Well done. I know you and Gavin would find success over there. I mean, it stands to reason. A pair of boys from little old Maidenhead, Berkshire, now successful over in America. I might come and join you myself. Now that you two have done so well, both of you rich and living in big mansions with servants and all them cattle. I remember when the height of your ambition was pretending you were a Londoner and seeing if you fooled those Scotch boys we met by the barracks. Funny thing is, Gavin never mentioned none of this in his letter, but he always was a bit of a quiet one, and I reckon you wrote after he did. Either way, I am made up for the pair of you. Made up. Cowboys. Millionaires. We miss you, especially your mum, since your dad passed on, but she told me she was so proud of you. Even Gavin's ma was happy. She said her usual piece about not thinking you had it in you, but she smiled and said she knew her boy would see sense or make sense or something eventually. Berkshire forever. Your pal. P.S. I saw that bloke Brian Gold the other day in the market. He said some real odd things about you, which I said weren't true. Bet he's laughing on the other side of his face now. Quickly players realize that this portrayal of being rich and successful cowboys clashes starkly with Nigel's actual disheveled and frantic state, suggesting a discrepancy between reality and the image Nigel wishes to project. This letter, rather than providing answers to the mystery, instead raises several questions about Nigel and Gavin's past and the authenticity of their claimed successes. Picking apart this letter leaves us with a lot of interesting details. First and most obvious is that Nigel is a habitual liar. As he lied to his friend Tom about being a rich, successful cowboy living in a mansion with servants. This appears it couldn't be further from the truth as Arthur encounters him in-game. Tom also says that Gavin, Nigel's missing friend, had written him a letter before Nigel did, and Gavin did not mention any of their riches or successes as Nigel did. Furthermore, Tom goes on in the letter to say he remembered when the height of Nigel's ambition was pretending he was a Londoner and fooling Scotch boys, hinting that Nigel has a past of both lying and also deceiving people to distort their perception of him. And if Nigel and Gavin were close friends, it's possible that Gavin carried a lot of these character traits himself as well. Other than that, the letter also seemingly confirms that Gavin exists, as Tom refers to both Gavin and his mom. And that is about all of the information we get out of the letter. Another detail to note is that even if the player kills Nigel, they will still encounter him in other areas of the map, so he is practically immortal. There is also no voice actor or motion actor credited as Gavin in the game's credits, hinting that Gavin was never supposed to be seen or even heard from. With that being said, let's dive into the theories surrounding Gavin and the evidence that supports each theory. Our first theory is the simple escape theory. That is that Gavin, who had traveled to America with Nigel, simply decided to distance himself from Nigel, possibly due to the burdensome nature of Nigel's personality or their shared past based on deception. As mentioned before, players encounter Nigel as a deeply obsessed individual, incessantly searching for Gavin in a manner that suggests a compulsive fixation, and only intensified by the epilogue years after the main story takes place. This portrayal could imply that Nigel's intense and perhaps overbearing demeanor drove Gavin to seek solitude or escape from an unhealthy relationship. The game subtly supports this theory through Nigel's repetitive dialogue and distressed state, which highlight his possible psychological instability. Additionally, the content of the letter found on Nigel, which paints a grandiose picture of success in America, hints at a pattern of fabrications and exaggerations that might have become too heavy for Gavin to bear. It is also mentioned that Gavin never brought up the alleged successes of America himself either. If Gavin felt entrapped by Nigel's delusions or overwhelmed by the facade they maintained, it would be reasonable for him to disappear without trace, seeking a fresh start away from the pressures and expectations crafted by their lies. This theory gains credibility after diving into the game files. While there is no character model for any NPC called Gavin, data miners have found a picture of what Gavin would have looked like in-game. A lot different than what players may have expected. All dirty and roughed up. Furthermore, a file was found in the game suggesting the letter found on Nigel from Tom was supposed to be a different document. This line of code reveals that instead of a letter found on Nigel, it was supposed to be a restraining order from Gavin, which would mean Gavin had taken a restraining order against Nigel, and Nigel would no longer be able to have anything to do with Gavin. This supports the theory that Gavin knew Nigel was somewhat crazy and chose to get away from him on his own. Another and one of the most popular theories is the Nigel is Gavin theory. This theory presents the intriguing possibility that Nigel might actually be Gavin, grappling with a dissociative identity disorder and unknowingly searching for himself within the sprawling world of RDR2. This hypothesis is bolstered by the lack of a credited voice actor for Gavin, along with the fact that if you spawn in as the character model for Gavin, you will spawn in as Nigel, all suggesting that he may not have ever existed as a separate physical character within the game. Instead, Gavin could represent a fragmented part of Nigel's psyche, one that he has externalized and is now desperately trying to locate as a means of self-reconciliation. Nigel's mental state throughout the game appears increasingly unstable, marked by his obsessive behavior and incessant wandering, which could be indicative of a deeper psychological issue and possibly even a mental disease like schizophrenia. The letter that players can find on Nigel, supposedly from a friend back home, might actually have been written by Nigel himself in a state of delusion, further fabricating his success and the claimed existence of Gavin to cope with his own failures and disappointments after moving to America. This theory not only fits within the broader themes of identity and reality explored in the game, but also adds a layer of tragic depth to Nigel's character, suggesting that his quest is not just a search for a missing friend, but a poignant struggle for self-discovery and mental coherence, leading him to ultimately search for himself, not Gavin. The last theory we have for you today is the common theory. This theory suggests that Nigel and Gavin were more than just friends. They were partners in deceit, engaging as con artists whose schemes ultimately led to disastrous consequences. This theory posits that Gavin, having been deeply involved in their deceptive ploys, might have met a grim end after their fraudulent activities angered the wrong individuals. Such a scenario would involve Gavin being killed as retribution for their cons, and his body likely hidden to erase any traces of the crime, leaving no clues for Nigel or anyone else to find. Meanwhile, Nigel, either completely unaware of the true fate of his friend or in deep denial, continues his endless search across the game's vast landscapes. His failure to find Gavin or even come close to any leads suggests that he has not caught on to the reality of their situation. This theory paints a bleak picture of the consequences of living a life based on deception, where the truth remains as elusive and hidden as Gavin's fate, encapsulated in the endless wilderness of the game. Supporting this theory, the game subtly includes instances where other characters reference the dangers of deceitful behaviors and the harsh retributions they can provoke. Additionally, the mysterious letter found on Nigel, filled with grand tales of success, could be a fabricated element of their cons, suggesting a pattern of elaborate lies that could easily lead to their downfall when discovered by deceived parties. As mentioned before, the letter from Tom also highlights that Nigel used to pretend to be a Londoner and fool the Scotch boys, further planting his roots in deception. There are more speculative theories surrounding Gavin, such as an old Reddit theory that suggests Gavin is the name of a Rockstar employee that was never at work, so they put this in as a joke. And another theory that Gavin is the man claiming to be the devil in the cave north of Strawberry, as well as another theory that Gavin was a victim of Edmund Lowry, the serial killer. Some fans even think Gavin was Nigel's dog. However, these theories have little to no evidence backing them and cannot be verified as true. So what do you think this mystery Easter egg is all about? Do you think Gavin was ever real? Or do you think this was all a made-you-look from Rockstar and we were never supposed to see anything from Gavin? I can't wait to hear from you in the comment below. If you enjoyed this video and made it this far, be sure to subscribe and check out the video on your screen now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, we will just assume Gavin is living in Tahiti.